Momotaro, Ryunosuke Akutagawa. 1. Long, long ago, so very long ago that it lies beyond the memory of men, deep in the heart of the mountains, there stood a great peach tree. To call it great hardly does it justice. Its branches spread beyond the clouds, and its roots reach down into the depths of the earth, down to the very realm of Yomi, the land of the dead. In the age when heaven and earth were newly parted, the august deity, Izanagi, it is said, once hurled the fruit of a peach to drive away the 8 thunders that barred his path at Yomotsu Hirasaka. The very fruit of that divine peach tree still hung from the branches of this one. Since the dawn of the world, this tree had blossomed only once every 10,000 years, and borne fruit only once every 10,000 years. Its blossoms were like crimson robes, adorned with golden tassels. Its fruit, needless to say, was enormous. Yet, even more wondrous was this. Within each stone lay a beautiful infant, formed there of its own accord. Long, long ago, so very long ago, the tree stood with its countless fruits hanging thick upon the branches that shaded the mountains and valleys, quietly bathed in the light of the Sunday. The fruit that ripened once every 10,000 years did not fall for 1,000. But one lonely morning, fate itself took the form of a sacred crow, the Yatagarasu, and swept down upon the tree. In an instant, the bird pecked at one small peach, blushed with red, and sent it tumbling from the branch. Through rising clouds and mists, the peach fell, down and down, until at last it splashed into a mountain stream below. The stream, trailing white sprays between the peaks, flowed on toward the land of men. What hands, then, should find this peach that bore a child within it? That need hardly be said. For at the end of that very stream, as every child in Japan already knows, there was an old woman washing her husband's clothes, the clothes of the old man who had gone out to gather firewood. 2. Momotaro, the boy born from a peach, one day resolved to conquer the island of demons, Onigashima. The reason for this noble undertaking was, in truth, far less noble. He simply hated working in the mountains, the fields, or the rivers, as his old foster parents did. When the old couple heard of his grand plan, they were, in fact, secretly relieved. They had grown weary of this mischievous child and were eager to send him away as soon as possible. So they gave him whatever he asked for: flags, a sword, a battle surcoat, everything needed for a splendid expedition. Moreover, for provisions along the road, they made him kibidango, millet dumplings, exactly as he had ordered. Momotaro thus set out on his campaign against the demons, his spirits high and his chest swelling with pride. Before long, a large stray dog appeared, its hungry eyes glinting. It called out to him, "Momotaro, Momotaro, what is that hanging from your belt?" "This," Momotaro replied proudly, "is the best millet dumpling in all Japan." Of course, whether it truly was the best in Japan was something even he was not quite sure of. Nevertheless, the dog, hearing of the dumpling, drew near and said, "Please give me one. I'll serve as your companion." Momotaro quickly made his calculations. "I won't give you a whole one," he said. "I'll give you half." The dog stubbornly repeated, "Please, just one." Again and again. But Momotaro would not withdraw his offer. In such transactions as in any business, the one who has the goods holds the advantage. At last the dog sighed, accepted half a dumpling, and agreed to accompany him. Later, Momotaro also gained a monkey and a pheasant as retainers, each for the price of half a dumpling. Unfortunately, they did not get along well. The dog, with its strong fangs, looked down on the timid monkey. The monkey, quick at reckoning the value of dumplings, looked down on the self-righteous pheasant. The pheasant, versed even in the science of earthquakes, looked down on the dull-witted dog. Such constant bickering made it no easy task for Momotaro to command his followers. What's worse, the monkey, once its belly was full, began to complain. "Half a dumpling for accompanying you to Onigashima? Hardly worth the trouble," it grumbled. At this, the dog barked furiously and tried to bite the monkey to death. Had the pheasant not intervened, the monkey might have met its end then and there before ever having the chance to avenge the crab of that other tail. The pheasant calmed the dog and lectured the monkey on the virtues of loyalty and obedience to one's master. Still, the monkey, having climbed a roadside tree to escape the attack, was in no mood to listen. The one who finally brought the quarrel to an end was none other than Momotaro himself. Looking up at the monkey and fanning himself coolly with his Hinamaru fan, he said with calculated indifference, "Very well, don't come along then. But when I've conquered Onigashima, don't expect a single share of the treasure." The greedy monkey opened its round eyes. "Treasure? There's treasure on Onigashima?" "Treasure and more," said Momotaro. "They even say there's a magic mallet, the Uchide no Kozuchi, that can produce anything you wish." "Anything at all?" cried the monkey. "Then if we use that mallet to make more mallets, we could have everything in the world at once. What a splendid bargain. Please, let me come after all." So Momotaro once again gathered his unlikely band dog, monkey, and pheasant, and hastened on the road toward Onigashima, intent on conquest. 3. Onigashima, the island of demons, was a solitary isle in the farthest reaches of the sea. Yet it was not, as people commonly imagine, a barren heap of rocks. In truth, it was a natural paradise. Tall palms swayed in the breeze, and birds of paradise sang among the branches. The demons who lived upon this island, born into such a land of beauty, naturally loved peace. Indeed, it would seem that demons, as a race, were by nature more given to pleasure and refinement than we humans. Consider, for instance, the demons in the tale of the man who lost his lump. They spend the whole night dancing. The demons in Isunboshi fall so deeply in love with a noble lady on a pilgrimage that they forget even their own safety. It is true that Shuten Doji of Mount A and Ibaraki Doji of Rashomon are remembered as villains of legendary wickedness. Yet perhaps Ibaraki Doji's secret visits to Rashomon were merely out of fondness for Suzaku Avenue, much as we modern folk are fond of Ginza. As for Shuten Doji, it is certain that he spent his days drinking in the cave of Mount E. But as for the claim that he kidnapped women, well, whether that be true or not, it may simply be what those women themselves said afterward. To accept everything that women say as the pure truth, well, I have entertained doubts about that for the past 20 years. As for those heroes Raiko and his 4 heavenly kings, were they not, perhaps, a little mad with their worship of womanhood? The demons, for their part, lived serenely amid their tropical landscape playing the koto, dancing, and singing the songs of ancient poets. Their wives and daughters wove cloth, brewed sake, and gathered bouquets of orchids, living no differently from the wives and daughters of men. Above all, the old demon mothers, white-haired now, their fangs fallen out, would sit caring for their grandchildren and tell them tales of the terrifying creatures called humans. "If you're naughty," they would say, "we'll send you to the land of men. Any demon sent there will surely be killed, just like old Shuten Doji long ago." What are men, you ask? Men are strange, ghastly beings with pale faces and limbs, and no horns at all. And as for human women, they smear that same pallid skin with powder made of lead. If that were all, it would be tolerable, but listen well. Whether man or woman, they lie, they covet, they grow jealous, they are vain. They kill their own kind, they set fires, they steal, and they do every manner of evil imaginable. Truly, they are the most frightful beasts of all. 4. Thus did Momotaro visit upon these innocent demons a terror like that of conquest. Forgetting their iron clubs, the demons cried, "Humans! Humans!" and fled in panic, scattering among the towering palms, darting this way and that. "Advance! Advance! Kill every demon you find, not one left alive." Momotaro shouted, brandishing his peach banner with one hand and waving his Hinomaru fan with the other, and he gave orders to the dog, monkey, and pheasant. Those three were not perhaps the most harmonious of retainers, yet a hungry animal makes, it seems, the most fearless soldier, and like a gale they gave chase, hunting down the fleeing demons. The dog, with one savage bite, tore apart a young demon. The pheasant, with a sharp beak, pecked a demon child to death. The monkey being, after all, of the same kin as we humans, did not kill without first indulging in outrage upon a demon girl. After every conceivable atrocity had been committed, the chief of the demons, together with a few who had escaped with their lives, finally surrendered before Momotaro. Naturally, Momotaro was pleased with himself. Onigashima was no longer the paradise where birds of paradise sang. The palm groves were strewn with demon corpses everywhere. Still holding his banner and attended by his 3 followers, Momotaro addressed the chief, whose face had taken on the rigid look of a flattened spider with grave solemnity. "Out of special mercy, I will spare your lives. In return, you must surrender every treasure on Onigashima without reserve." "Yes, we will surrender them. And further, you must give up your children as hostages. That too we accept." After pressing his forehead to the ground once more, the demon chief, trembling, ventured to ask Momotaro a question. "We humbly accept your punishment, though we know not what offense we committed to deserve your expedition. In truth, we of Onigashima cannot for the life of us understand what discourtesy we showed you. Might you tell us, sir, what it is we did that has so offended you?" Momotaro nodded serenely. "I, Momotaro, best in all Japan, came to conquer Onigashima because I enlisted those 3 loyal followers, dog, monkey, and pheasant." "Pray, tell, how was it that you took those 3 into your service?" "Plainly because I resolved to conquer Onigashima. I enlisted them by giving them kibidango millet dumplings. Do you understand? If you say you still do not know, then I will kill you all." Startled, the demon chief leapt back some 3 feet, and then, with renewed humility, bowed most respectfully once more. 5. The greatest hero in all Japan, Momotaro, returned home in triumph, accompanied by his 3 retainers, the dog, the monkey, and the pheasant, and by the demon child he had taken as a hostage, who now pulled the cart laden with treasure. This much, of course, is already known to every child in Japan. Yet Momotaro did not, as the tales would have it, live happily ever after. When the demon child grew to adulthood, he killed the pheasant, who served as guard, and fled at once back across the sea to Onigashima. Nor was that the end of it. The demons who had survived on the island would, from time to time, cross the waters and set fire to Momotaro's mansion, or attempt to cut his throat in his sleep. Rumor had it that the monkey they had killed during the raid had, in fact, been a case of mistaken identity. Momotaro could not help sighing under these repeated misfortunes. How troublesome, he would say, is the depth of a demon's malice. To think they could forget the great mercy of their master, who spared their lives such ingratitude. The dog would growl whenever he saw his master's bitter face. Meanwhile, on the lonely shores of Onigashima, beneath the beautiful glow of a tropical moon, 5 or 6 young demons were at work. They were preparing for the island's independence, filling hollow palm nuts with explosives. They had forgotten even to fall in love with the gentle demon maidens. Silent, yet strangely exultant, their eyes each round as a teacup shone with feverish light. 6. Deep within the mountains beyond the reach of any human eye, the great peach tree still stands today, just as it did long ago, its boughs heavy with countless ripening fruits. Of course, the one peach that once bore Momotaro has long since fallen and drifted away down the mountain stream. Yet within the remaining fruits, the geniuses of the future still sleep unknown, unborn, unseen. When, one wonders, will that great Yata-garasu, the 8-span crow, descend once more upon the tree's lofty branches? Ah, the geniuses of the future still sleep within those fruits. Their names, their destinies, none yet known to man. June 1924.